Neighborhood Watch presents For the Record, brought to you by Ill Remedy Studios. I'm your host, Os1.
And I'm your co-host, Da Vinci.
And today we have a special guest with us.
Hey.
None other than the legendary Myka.
Friend and fam,
it's all
welcome
love.
to our studio. How are you?
Yes, thank you for
Man,
coming
blessed
today,
as
brother.
we all are. Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate it, for real, for real.
Hey, I appreciate you as well, bro.
So, yo,
Yeah.
I want to go straight. into some history, man.
Oh, yeah.
Hit us with how this all started with you, man. I mean, from the jungles to get shot and all this shit.
Well, just being a kid, moving in with my mom in '76, I was around the age of 9. Almost everything she did was musical, and so even when I was younger, I was into music. My great-grandparents, everybody in my family on both sides was into music. So they didn't have the music program, and my parents couldn't afford to take me to music school or have a tutor or anything like that. Even though she played and he played trumpet, she played keys. All the music in their collection was high art and sculpture, paintings, everything that she did, everything that he did, all were incorporated in my experiences, as well as everything going on at that time as a child in the 70s. So the music, the funk, the soul, the jazz, it fused with church and gospel and even those Gregorian Catholic chants, sort of vibrations, all of that coming into the mix with some dance hall. And at that time, the birth of electronic music and coming up into hip hop, I found myself rapping.
That's right.
Solid at the age of 12, rhyme books, everything, b-boying shortly after, mid-'80s. High school coming on through, playing ball against different high schools and battling after the games. On to the street performances and talent shows, pep rallies, and finally performing in city clubs and venues around and doing records and forming crew affiliations and associations. Prominent ones were MC Aces, Freestyle Fellowship, Haiku d'Etat Honorable Mention, as well as Global Flotations and helping seed groups, like the Collabros, Shout Them Out, Luminaries, or a variety of other artists that I've been associated with. The Good Life and the Project Blowed, mainly our creative collective and community and crew, all have one thing in common, and that's to maintain the integrity of the craft.
That's right.
And, there's an independent business model that comes with that, as well as a certain work ethic and spirit of, positive creativity, above and beyond anything else. And that helps us tap into abundance. So, from a child, rapping, freestyling, whatever it was before it was coined that phrase, with the MC Aces, shout out AC Alone, shout out Teaspoon, shout out Self Jupiter, Julai Zeza, shout out DJ Kilu, primarily core members, shout out Abstract Root, of course. We were able to, shout out Fat Jack, shout out Underground Railroad, shout out GMD, form a certain level where part of our drills would be to beat and rhyme at the same time and to keep a pattern and to keep the subject matter as the cipher rotated around, let's say 4 bars, 8 bars, 12 bars, 16 bars. And, that would just sharpen your skills with your discipline. You got a nice bass in here, though.
No doubt.
Nice acoustics in the booth.
Every time I hear this certain style, I always got to correct people and bring it back to where it started. Tell us where Double Time started at.
Well, double timing, triplet, chopping, whatever you want to call it, for me at least, because nobody else was doing it before me, was like, I would hear different styles of rapid fire delivery, shout out Dash at Dorsey High, or you had a little bit of that JJ Fad thing going on, but it wasn't quite what I found myself doing as a kid, because again, I was coming up with that jazz and coming up with that dance hall, and already the DJs and MCs that would perform in the lingua and the cockney, the patois over the dance hall beats during that time, and we're talking about in the 70s, 80s, if you cite like Saxon Sound or you cite, Yellow Man or some of them, where you heard them chopping the style, already. And then in jazz, I'm hearing transcribed solos by, Hendrix and Ross and, hearing these different runs from saxophones, trumpets and piano licks and any sort of instrument that was in the virtuoso of America's classic music called jazz. So, and just any other aspect of tapping into the griots and our ancestors, me being of African descent, a person of color. So with that, it was only inevitable that I would start chopping rhymes to make it more interesting for me, because at that time not everybody, but most of the cats were like into like a more gothic battle lord or gangster rap or pattern, because, Daylight and them were already, starting to do their thing and whatnot, or, they were into the way out lyrics, like Ultramagnetic or something, you dig? Shout out Kool Keith and crew.
Shout out Kool Keith for sure.
And it came together in such a way, where it was only inevitable that there would be some double time and triple time chopping. And
so tell me real quick, what makes a dope double timer? Like someone that you like, oh, this guy's that's dope.
Okay, like a chopper, for instance. Like I know cats that's been chopping for years. And who did it first? Who did that first? I don't know. I just know I was the first one doing it around my crew, and motherfuckers first said, that's just whack. And then you catch them a couple months later starting to chop they shit. And it was just speeding up gradually anyway. You dig? Like it was just getting faster and faster regardless, but people were trying to figure out their own algorithm, their own style. And that's when I already knew I was going to be an innovator of being open in the sense of having a dynamic range of styles, not just this style chop or that style melodic or that subject matter or this pattern. Like I want to be known for more than just battling or punchlines or rapping fast. And I knew that early on. That's why I went to my singing shit. But back then, the choppers, of course, some of the first choppers I remember that started chopping shortly after me that I would hear around was like, of course, my local, peripheral was like AC Alone, Teaspoon, and then, you had records that came out, which might give credence to the fact that maybe cats were chopping a couple months before the record came out. And I remember, on EMI, that was the label that put out the Originators single with Jazz-O, or the Jazz, and Jay-Z on that. It's the Originals, and I thought that was a little different than Hawaiian Sophie, you dig? But, hey, hip-hop was, it flowers and seeds. Logically, they got jazz out there, too. They got dancehall out there, too. It just makes sense to me in a convolution of style. Same thing when you dig on Crucial Conflict or Tongue Twister or Twister. Y'all know him as Twister. I know him as Tongue Twister. Y'all know him as, Tech 9 Midwest. I know Tech 9 is, that's the homie, the humble homie that'll be in the corner writing his rhymes, at Fat Jack Studio, you dig? Like, with a work ethic, so all these cats, are heralded as being earlier choppers, outside of my Good Life crew, which started, late 80s, where we were 88, 89, at the Good Life, 89, 90. And then, I was already chopping like 85, 86, so it was nothing, for me. I was already kind of tired of it by 90, 91. Like people like, oh, do that thing, and then I see everybody at the Good Life doing it like.
You're all, this thing?
Oh, yeah, man. So, because that's why everybody was like, bite Myka 9, because everybody was doing it. But no, everybody had their own kind of chop. They got their own voice, and that's something that the long-standing choppers kept in mind. They were like, oh, just because Myka was doing it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. So, I want to shout out LA Cool. I want to shout out Bus Driver. I want to shout out all the choppers. I know Self Jupiter. Shout out Peace. So many choppers out there. I mean, just purified choppers. Acid Rain. Beyond the Gaja.
Yeah.
Shout out. Quasar Ron Fighters. Shout out.
Quasar.
Cola Crew.
Mike Manson. Just shout out.
There are a ton of them.
Shout out Talib. He's a chopper. Shout out. How many other choppers I know? Shout out all the female choppers too. Medusa definitely got chops when she went chop, no doubt. Neb Love, shout out choppers, Vixen, Super Choppers, all of the 5-footers, especially, shout out Cobra Red, want to shout out. It's just a variety of choppers. So I know that just be chopping, spin, and let them have it. But now it's just become like Shout Out Syndrome. It's just been like household in that aspect of rhyming worldwide.
And we definitely appreciate you dropping these gems on us, man, giving us the history, man. I mean, you talked about a lot of things in there.
Yeah, you got Bone out there. You got
no doubt.
Cats out there that's been chopping. Like I mentioned, Das Effects had a certain kind of chop.
Oh, yeah.
And so did, was it Cross Colors? Was it Crisscross?
Crisscross, yeah.
And Busta Rhymes is an excellent chopper. Eminem chops. I mean, some of these cats rap God out. They spaz out, you know.
Hey, so we'll talk about choppers. Let's get into this track right here. What's it called? New Suspiria?
Oh, you want me to rap? Okay, well, I'm not chopping on this. I'm doing some, like, retro rap on this, I like to call it.
Well, we love
whatever
all
it is,
of
it's going to be fly. I know that.
All right, let's do it.
Get it. Neighborhood Watch presents For the Record, brought to you by El Remedy Studios.
Active shooter training, held captive by my explaining to these rapper students, aiming to master the style and claiming respect. Riders react as I can see through you like a clear backpack. I had cold-blooded knife for an axe. I'm black gold, vibe of a Mac. Inspect these fools, rushing me like it's a cyber attack. You had a leak, a data breach, a man of peace that had to teach a sucker MC strategy to talk and treat with dialogue, no honor in a pack of thieves. Time is money, I don't buy that for a second. It's a penny for your thoughts, do you keep me second guessing? The tide turns against gaining a clean fight. I need to watch my soul if anything I don't deem right. I'm hotter than Caldera lava and summer weather partner, and spotted in a black Pantera with bald Yokohamas. How many cattle to feed? Only the fat and the meat, banging its non-onomatopoeia battle fatigues. I'm a terror from another world, an instance of abomination. This is a black heart procession, a new Suspiria beyond aggression. I'm a terror from another world, an instance of abomination. This is a black heart procession, a new Suspiria. Woman, I see Uranus in the media shower with my naked eye, just entertain us. Wikipedia browder, but I'm a killing over. Wildcat Villanova, my queen stays on the bar, serving shots like Serena and Kornikova. A dealer soldier Duncan, drunk off power, but really sober. Straight shooters, no flower pipes or mariposas. I'm smoking the ponderosas until I get really toasted. My flow cannot be contained, I'm spilling over. Lambasted and flabbergasted by the inglorious bastard with a Louisville named Lucille. Head of hell in a closed casket. That's a rhyme is burning. Master time concerning. Last in line confirming your asinine disturbing. I had an imaginary adversary harassing me that vanished in a pageant of badges for my badassery. These are rap fellas in dead zones that act jealous, need headphones or stones, think they killing in my crap pellets. I'm a terror from another world, an instance of abomination. This is a black heart procession, a new Suspiria beyond aggression. I'm a terror from another world, an instance of abomination. This is a black heart procession, a new Suspiria. Shout out Raw El Remedy. Shout out Shaki. Shout out Kyle. Shout out Dub. Shout out Big O. Shout out Area Crew.
Yo,
It's all love.
Dope.
man, I'm like tripping right now. That's just
Shout out
fire.
DFC. I hear that DFC in the.
That's so fire. All right, so let's get into those projects you've been doing. Tell us about, obviously, New Suspiria's new project, but like, tell us about tonight's program. Tell
New
us
Suspiria,
about New
I made that
Year's
with Jade River.
Anthology.
Shout out Jade River, and that's an album spoof. And what's interesting is that when we released it, they ended up redoing the movie Suspiria because it was off the lore of a 1977 horror flick, an Italian horror flick about these dancer chicks and stuff. It was just like some weird little shit. But I liked the poster and I liked the noir, and that comprised the chorus, and I embellished that with the rap work, and that movie came out, and so, you know, it's not like we were piggybacking marketing or anything, but it was just a strange and coincidence. Suspiria.
That's awesome.
And then you mentioned my next project after that. That was October, and we released that near Halloween. Then the next project I released New Year's Eve. That was tonight's program. Shout out Abnormal Injustice, and that's a monumental work with a variety of different style form, and mainly produced by him with features from, well, I must also shout out, Jade River from the previous project I was talking about. That was New Suspiria.
Yes.
You dig? And Ariano, he was my only feature on that, on the song My Whole Life. But on this second project that we're talking about, tonight's program, I got Prince Poe from Organized Confusion. I have Chesky Ramos featured on it. And it's really an in-depth work. It's a profound work.
Very.
And there's videos to boot to go with some of those songs as well. And, moving forward.
What about, and then there's High Maintenance Jackson after that, right?
After that, yes. Before that, I released an anthology called Years with Factor.
Oh,
Factor
okay. Shout out
Chandelier,
Factor.
yeah, because we've done a series of songs through the years, and some were comprised as projects like 1969, Sovereign Soul, or Famous Future Time Travel. However, we did a lot of out tunes, and I did a lot of tunes on his personal projects, so we put them all together for my 50th, and it's like 50 plus songs, and it's called Years, so it's like an ultimate anthology that we restreamed. So then after that, shout out Factor, of course. After that, I want to shout out the Slippers, which is a band comprised of Mike Cody and the rest of his crew. that did work previously with AC Alone on the Mars project, as well as with Self Jupiter. Shout out AC Alone and Self Jupiter on Burgundy Fats. And so we thought it'd be a good idea for them to, try to add like a bit of, how would I phrase it? So we're kind of girding Nick and putting under my sound. And so, in my approach, and we came up with High Maintenance Jackson. So it's like a spoof project of a guy that just can't work under these conditions. Like,
Hilarious.
the lights are too bright. I have to go. I'm sorry.
Hell yeah.
You guys are just too dope. I gotta go. Like, just whatever. It could be good or bad. But High Maintenance Jackson, and so in the artwork, you see me, being carried in the catamaran by the guys and stuff, and they're handing me different things.
Sweet.
It's an orange hardcover. So that's a live band album that I have, jam band style, just way fun, and we stretch out though. Then after that project, I released, and that was later in January. Then come February, March, I released another project with Adriatic. And I love this project. It's called In Motion. And Adriatic's a young producer, engineer cat. And I have features with Abstract Rude on that project and others. And it's just really a really full project. And it expresses more of my modern styles. Not so trappy, but just kind of like post-trap, in my opinion.
Post-trap. I love
it. And not so much bass music or EDM as much as has a soulful kind of like person-to-person approach.
Okay.
Then after that, last month I released my latest project, which is called Prophetic Vision. And, that's featuring Dove Moses and Jackson Wallane and The Goddess. And what's interesting about that project is I got a couple bappers on there. I got one buster, fucking truck buster called Prophetic Vision. It's like some retro hop on some like boom, 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 boom. And I'm chopping on it's tight. I mean, you guys should play that in the mix. I should have brought that for you guys to share. Prophetic Vision. And also a song called Big One, which is about earthquakes. And it has kind of like a reggae, kind of dubsteppy, hip-hoppy feel to it that I really like a lot. Nice. So that's all the project called Prophetic Vision.
Yeah.
And so upcoming projects, Cloud 9, I think we're doing the finishing touches on Cloud 9 right now. Shout out DJ AOK in Hawaii and Kauai. Mahalo.
What's up, fam?
She shoots to my crew worldwide. DJ AOK provided a platform for me to express myself with a producer who sadly passed away a couple months ago. He did all the beats. His name is Profound. He was out of the UK and in England, out there in London, you dig, and love and peace to his family. He shifted off from this mortal coil. He knows more than all of us. And his music will speak for itself, and it's no coincidence that we're calling it Cloud 9, but it will be hashtag CL9WD or CL9UD. And I have features on this album from Number One Grouch,
shout out.
Number one, freaking Eli. So I have Grouch and Eli on my album. And so that's just like already just...
I think you have Teleported too.
I have the Unparalleled AC Alone on my album. I have the Incomparable Abstract Rude on my album. I have Joaquin Daniels on my album. I have Blueprint on my album. I have Blueprint and I have Blue on my album.
Oh yeah. Shout out KT.
And they are crushing it. I mean, every feature is just perfectly placed, and there's music and it's bumping, and it's like a good retro hop feel, but not like necessarily old school or new school hip hop. It kind of gives me just a feel of on the floor, like similar to the music you're playing now.
Nice.
You dig? And they crush it. They really go hard. We have videos too, like on the edge of volcanoes and weird stuff with drones and stuff in Hawaii. I'm pushing a convertible. I got Ab and Joaquin with me out there in Hawaii. We toured Hawaii.
Hell yeah.
And we've been touring. I want to shout out Lock Jester and Candy Clown. I want to shout out AZ Red Smoke. I want to shout out any and all DJs that's ever toured with us. I know me and Roz have done some runs. Ill Remedy, no doubt. Pardon me. Oh man, so much love to all my bros on the East Coast and the West Coast.
That's right. We're gonna get into this next track though. Is that cool, Myka?
Yeah. I just want to make sure we were thorough.
For
now,
sure.
Also, I have Teleported 2 coming out because I put out Teleported 1 last year. Shout out Freematic because I also have an association with him in our sci-fi horror motion comic. And I should have brought some comic books for you guys as well, but you can go online and check it out.
We will. We'll get into that more in just a little bit.
And
We're
a
gonna
host of
check
features
this
out
track,
there as
though.
well. So look out for Teleported 2, look out for Cloud 9, and all the different features I'm featured on. They spell my name MYKA, numerical number 9. But sometimes they spell my name MYKANYNE or MIKAH 9. So it goes on and on.
Most def. Okay, so we're gonna get into this track. It's
all love.
Future Time Travel.
You want me to rap it?
Hell
Yeah.
Oh,
we
cool.
do. You know.
Neighborhood Watch presents For the Record, brought to you by El Remedy Studios. This is Myka 9 with Future Time Travel.
Celebrity, so far ahead they couldn't remember me. Stand still as I walk through eternity. All expenses paid, the love energy. I'm never losing my identity. Generations liberated free. On my hands to plan my infinity. As an MC, as an individual, I do not have a limit. Very few original and many more are gimmick. Set it for the pigeonholing in a with their image. Printed on the center for the look at this and mimic. Rapping very general, you wanna be the business. Acting like a criminal that can't complete a sentence. Like a movement in the mood, you won't get recommended. Cocky when you started, now you're rocky as you finish. Throughout the millennium and any point within it. On to continue on my way be represented. Offering a pinnacle and service independent. Every bit of bitter turned up I have been in. Odyssey eternal and the search is never ending. Arduous the journey universally intended. Bodies existential and the chakras are ascended. Shifting that dimensional when I would not diminish. But I'm not a celebrity. So far ahead they couldn't remember me. Stand still as I walk through eternity. All expenses paid, the love energy. I'm never losing my identity. Generations liberated free. On my hands to plan my infinity. As an MC, as an intellectual, I use a cerebellum. Keeping it perpetual, I'm only trying to help them. See them more than sexual or someone trying to sell them. Ethernet professional or red carpet and velvet. Living a sustainable and reckless with the yelling. Controversy marketable, but it's overwhelming. They were more controllable, but not offensive belling. Come back and be possible, it's all in the detailing. Getting through my capital can only put a melon. Only a distraction, even in one with the relin. Elevate the rapping to the point beyond Magellan. Utilize the passion as a spiritual propellant. No mommy dependable, I'm winning, not repelling. Opponent is dependable, they planning on me felling. Come back is so critical, the teacher, the assailant. The bonus is so beautiful as I end up prevailing. But I'm not a celebrity. So far ahead they couldn't remember me. Stand still as I walk through eternity. All expenses paid, the love energy. I'm never losing my identity. Generations liberated free. On my hands to plan my infinity. As an MC. But I'm not a celebrity. So far ahead they couldn't remember me. Stand still as I walk through eternity. All expenses paid, the love energy. I'm never losing my identity. Generations liberated free. On my hands to plan my infinity. As an MC in a place to be. It's all love. You feel me?
Hell yeah, we feel you.
Man, I don't think everyone understands how much just melody and shit was going on right there. That shit was crazy, man. Thank you very much for blessing us with that song, Myka.
It's all love.
I had the pleasure of getting to go on that tour and watching that performed live, and that shit was fire.
Yeah.
Every time I got to see it, I was like, yes.
So, Myka, man, tell us about these upcoming events you have coming up. You have this coming up at the Annenberg, right?
Well, I guess since this will probably air after, in a couple of days, I'm excited. I was invited by Ava DuVernay, who directed our This Is the Life documentary chronicling, certain years of the good life open mic workshop. And Ava DuVernay, going on to produce so many award-winning, series and movies, always keeps it real, with me and supports my endeavors and reached out not only to me, but to Charlie Tuna, shout him out, Abstract Rude, L.A. Cool, and a variety of artists, Cut Chemist, Omid, good life veterans and pioneers to come represent at the Annenberg Museum for Photography. Now, there's an existing exhibit going on right now called Contact High, and so this will be in conjunction with Contact High alongside of it, and it'll be a showing of the movie because it's our 10-year anniversary for the movie. And we'll do a Q&A after the movie and perform. So I'm looking forward to it, and that'll be on the 20th.
So for people that don't know out there,
August
tell
20th.
us about the movie you're talking about. You're talking about the good
The movie
life.
I'm talking about is called This Is the Life, and it's directed and produced by Ava DuVernay, and it chronicles
You need to see it
the
if you
life
haven't seen it.
of us young MCs in LA at that time, and it centers around a place called The Good Life, which was a vegan cafe that hosted the only open mic workshop for hip hop at that time in that general area, or in LA for that matter. And so it brought together a lot of different people from different walks of life, old and young. And
so tell us, how did Project Blow come out of that?
Project Blow came out of that simply by Ace writing, Project Blow on the list at Good Life, because Heads was smoking a lot of pot and blow, and it came about as a carry through from Ben Caldwell's opening his doors to us since the mid 80s with iFresh and a variety of different workshops, and there being a place where we could express ourselves a little more freely, i.e. curse, not to say that people just went there to curse, but at this point, The Good Life began charging artists, and, they had to make their money. They had more expenses, I take it. And, became more of a who's who sort of vibration there, and a lot of biters and whatnot. And so, just in general, to preserve the craft and the integrity of the craft, you'll still get the mic passed on you. Please pass the mic at Project Blowed. But it was, it ran more free form and more creative in that regard, and that's why I believe it lasted long. Not to say, long lived The Good Life. The Good Life, it wouldn't be The Good Life. Project Blow wouldn't be Project Blow without The Good Life. And so then we have this Project Blow reality, and we have our anniversary every year, and the place is packed, 400 or 500 kids, so we represent Lovely in that regard. Other workshops that extended from iFresh or the location of Chaos Network, again, shout out Ben Caldwell, is my bro Verbs, perpetuating a positive creative vibe with his Bananas series of events that he does. And I'm gonna shout out Nikki too in conjunction for Oscillator. But Bananas that Blowed reminded me of Project Blow that Blowed, and even Juju for that matter, which was a dance night, where it was just like the walls were wet from sweat, bro. And
no doubt, man. It's definitely a lot of LA history, a lot of y'all were definitely on the creation side of this underground LA shit that we work on now. So I definitely appreciate all that love.
Mainstream pop too, you dig? Like it's
y'all definitely. You can hear the double
Ava
time influence everywhere.
Ava is Eve from Figures of Speech, which was a female group at The Good Life. Shout out Giant.
Hey, good looking out. Yo, tell all the people where they can find all your music at, where they can find all the information for you, upcoming shows, what else you got going
on? Tours coming up. I got a gig coming up north. I've been representing a lot up north. I want to shout out my man Sean at Cider Works, and all my cider guys up north that are not only they refuse, but they reduce, reuse, recycle, repurpose in a permaculture sense of, expanding, the sustainability, work ethic and lifestyle, and still having fun. So there's a harvest party coming up that I think ACAB, Jupiter, we're all going to go up there and do our thing. And I think that turns into a tour. I'm scheduled to go to Buffalo, New York, so that they let me into a Canada that way, because I haven't been into Canada, and now I hear they're becoming a little more loose with their restrictions. I caught a charge when I was a kid, like 30 years ago, and
damn,
it's just like it was a possession charge. That's it. But
that's ridiculous.
So this last track you're gonna get in is called "You Are Free," right?
Yeah, "You Are Free" is the last track that we're gonna have you perform.
Yeah, I'm free. I should be able to go to Canada. They let me in Japan.
I know, right?
They let me in Australia. They let me in London and Europe.
Do this track and then
let me in Costa Rica.
Neighborhood Watch presents For the Record.
Let me in Hawaii.
Brought to you by Ill Remedy Studios. I'm Os1. This is Myka 9 with You Are Free.
Os1.
Let's get it.
Check this out. From your mind, from your body, from your soul, you are free. You are free, a very significant big difference in what you want in existence. You are free, a pinnacle to remedy, a centerborn energy, a miracle infinity. You are free, and every instance, the magnificent interest, your limitless imprint. You are free, the smell in the chemistry, and knowing every family member with love therapy. You are free, whatever that you want to be. You are free, the rebel of profundity. You are free, and knowing even wondering if you're another never had done under by the government. And you are free, from the companies. You are free, go ahead, go. You are free, from the programs. You are free mind, free body, free soul. Free. Running through the jungle, shouting, I'm ready. Don't let them capture you, whatever you do. We were hungry, simply wanted our payday. Just I sat back and then shooted some hit-oo. Laid on that pedal in that ghetto jail. One time I come right about you and noodle. You up from where I'm from, it's still very beautiful. Women from head and head to that top cuticle. Coming home late to my lady and baby. No money loving could turn into hating. She put the food on the table, so at least you should be able to help with roofing the cable. Going to school as a student, they stupid, but they make the pupil pay no more improvement. So it ain't no puzzle, almost every moment hustle be true, show improve you are stable. Gunning for underground cloud out in LA. Wonder them rapper do feel and Fubu. I've been rapping since original K-Day. I'm alive active doing my own doo-doo. Blaze a mic hot like I fired the yaya. One and one light up, true MC the suitable. Let's elevate, creating a new of you. Gotta get up out of here and go to the loop. You are free. A very significant big difference in what you want in existence. You are free. The pinnacle, the remedy, a synchronous energy, a miracle infinity. You are free. In every instance, the magnificent entrance to your limitless supreme. You are free. The symbol in the chemistry and noting every family member will love therapy. You are free. Whatever that you want to be, you are free. The rebel of profundity, you are free. And no need for wondering if you're another number headed under by the government. You are free. From the companies, you are free. Go ahead, go, you are free. From the programs, you are free. Mind, free, body, free, so free. African drumming from hip hop to reggae. Mixing a track or two together, boogie. Keep it bumping to the time of a new day. Try to imagine yourself in a movie. Camera with lights, you a character player. Try to do something new for your community. Treat one another fair, give opportunity. No, did it, admit it, contributed, liberty, get it in, is it forbidden? Whenever I'm digging new rhythm, I'm spitting to musically get it and cut it through hitting. Shout out to Garvey, Mandela, and Tutu. These two Watusi, and double hoodoo. Everything Nubian, Cubans, and voodoo. Escaping feudal when you're treated brutal. Hey, geez, I'm Waligani and Nugo. You are free.